Obviously, there will be a Q&A session at the end of this talk, so we can address your questions if you have any at the end. So we want to ask about BI tools. I guess the best way to do it is actually to start directly with a use case. So I'm here with Edwige that has actually a few questions.
Yeah, so hello everyone, and thanks Hugo for welcoming me. So let's say that I'm a owner of a clothing shop of 10 people here in Brussels, and I've been using Odoo for a few years now. And so, as you probably know, my industry is ruled by fashion trends. And so that means that a bad decision in terms of production could lead to big financial losses. And that's why I have so many decisions to have in advance and so many questions and important questions in my mind. Just to give you a few examples of those questions. So let's say that okay, which product should no longer be produced based on the fashion trends? Can I expect to make enough sales next year to be able to hire new people? And yeah, speaking of my employees, who is the best salesperson, who is over and under performing, who should I train to become a better salesperson? And last but not least, I need to do some investment in 6 months for important equipment. And so I want to know, can I expect to have enough cash to invest directly by myself, or do I need to contact my bank? So all those questions are super important, and there is a big impact if I do a wrong decision at the wrong moment. And so, as I told you, I've been using Odoo for a while now, and I know that Odoo can help me with these questions. However, I'm a bit lost because there is too many data and too many products, and I don't have the time to compute it by myself every month. And to be completely honest with you, Hugo, I don't even know where I should look at and what a good metric is. And so that's why I really need you today.
I understand, and actually a lot of our customers were actually facing the same kind of issues, and we saw some trends in those issues. So we were able to identify that many people had the same problem. Just like you said, many of them actually struggle to find the right metric, meaning the good measure that's going to help them to answer the question. So that's a big struggle, because you want to have something that is quite simple that you can just look at and understand if there is a problem or not. And even if people know the measure that they want to compute, sometimes they do not find the data. It's either because the data is actually not stored in the database, it's simply not there, or it can be also because it's not stored in the right way, so they cannot use it for analysis, or it's not tracked in any case. So they cannot compute the metrics that they had in mind.
Yeah, I completely see myself in what you say. Even when I know where to find the information, I don't know how to use it properly. I have more than 3,000 products that I'm selling, and I can't check all the sales line to do my analysis. And so that's why I really need to have analyzed and transformed data to make sure that I can directly make the right decision at the right moment.
Yeah, and to analyze and transform the data, you need actually to have the right tool. And in previous versions of Odoo, in the early versions, we didn't really have the tool to do that. Well, obviously, you could export the data and try to use it in another software, but that means that the data was not up to date, and you might have to do the same modifications over and over again. So it wasn't really a solution that had. The other solution was then to use an integration like Google Spreadsheet was providing, but then you were still dependent on a refreshing rate. Sometimes it's still hard to find the data inside the database, and you need the specific function to call the right model or things like that. So it was a bit complicated, and the possibilities with Google Spreadsheet were not that enormous. So people were still turning to sometimes other type of integrations. But integration, that means that you need to be on Odoo SH. That means also that you need to learn these tools that can be sometimes complex. And if you need to have help of anybody, of external services for that, well, it might be quite expensive. And the people know the tool, but they do not know Odoo. So they do not know the data. They do not know the structure of the database. So they cannot really help you. So that meant that it was also development, so you need to maintain that, and that comes with a technical debt that's going to follow you during the years of your project. So it wasn't really a good solution on that hand.
Yeah, that's the point, and I think that's our feels here in this room and mine as well. So can you please tell me that Odoo can have a solution for
Well,
us?
obviously, we're not going to just say that there are issues and not provide a solution for you. So we want to provide a solution that makes sure that Odoo is not just an operational tool, but also gives you the data to answer the strategic questions that you might have. So for that, we have two different parts to our solution. First of all, a new improved tool, but also we want to provide new services to help you with it.
Okay, but wait, Hugo, what do you mean when you talk about a new tool?
Well, it's not entirely a new tool because it has already been there. I'm mostly speaking about Odoo spreadsheet and dashboard. They've been already totally revamped on Odoo 16, so that was a major change. Maybe we can already go back on some of the improvements that were made.
Yeah.
First of all, while using spreadsheet, you have real-time synchronized data. So that means that your data is always up to date. It's inside Odoo, so there is no refreshing rate, no connection to maintain. So it's really good to use the data directly inside Odoo. And it's so connected that just by clicking on an element on your dashboard, you can actually access the record that are behind, meaning really the element that existed before. So the sale order, the inventory move, you can access it and you can understand where the data that you were seeing in your dashboard is coming from. So you never ask yourself, okay, but is that measure real? Is it really good or not? At the same time, we also did a better standard dashboard. So before the standard dashboard, they were written in JavaScript. They were really hard to modify. You cannot put your own measures in it. And now the standard dashboard, well, you can just enter them. You can see the formulas that are used inside those dashboards. You can modify them so you can customize those dashboards. You can even customize them so much that you can actually create your own dashboard that are really specific for you and that will help you to answer your questions directly. And most of all of these dashboards, they are in one application, so you have all the different aspects of your business in one place. And it is a bit your control tower when you can just check the different elements and then act on it to be sure that you don't have any issues. So all this was really great already on Odoo 16. But we improved it even much further on Odoo 17. So if you want to know more about what has been really improved inside spreadsheet and dashboard, you can come tomorrow. We have another talk about that at 11:30, 10:30, I think.
Yeah, but you know, Hugo, I'm already using the V16 of Odoo, and I can see that there are many and many possible things to do. However, I'm still facing some issues because, as I told you, there is too much data and it's not always really clear for me. Moreover, I can't use it properly, even if Odoo has many possibilities and flexibilities, because I don't have all the knowledge and the expertise to implement it properly. And so that's frustrating. And if I need help and if I ask for help, let's say from outside services, that's most of the time too expensive for my company, to be honest. And they don't always know all the potential of Odoo. And that's a problem to make my decisions at the time. That's a frustration.
Yeah, and we also want to offer a solution for that. That's why we are coming up with actually services to help you, because the tool is often not enough.
Okay.
And we have a few propositions of what we can help you with. First of all, it might be good to sit together to do a KPI analysis. What I mean by that is that we want to really identify what are the important questions for your business and find the good metrics that will enable you to actually answer those questions really quickly just by looking at one or specific measures. And we also want to make specific suggestions for you that are tailored to your industry. How can we do that? Well, we want to rely on our business experts on each topic, meaning we have experts in accounting, services, or inventory as well, and they can help us with their expertise of the industry to be sure to find the good metric for you and to have a long-term vision in terms of strategy and what we want to achieve with the dashboard. So you can really detect any anomaly that you would have in your business and act on it quickly.
Okay, but now we have the KPIs, thanks to you and all your expert team. What we will do after?
Well, if you have the measure, the metric, obviously you need to compute this by having the data inside your database. So the next phase is to be sure that we have all the data necessary to compute the right measure at the right time. For that, we need to be sure that we are collecting the data. So that means making an audit of your database, being sure that according to the questions that we set, you are collecting the data in the right place. Meaning, maybe we have to create new fields. Maybe we have even to create new models to actually track what's going on certain changes that you are making, or add tracking to certain fields that were not there as well. So those are the kind of things that we can do. And the goal is really that during the whole implementation process, from the start, we have this question, we have these measures, and every time we take a decision, we can really take that into consideration.
Okay, but actually I can see the importance of an efficient data collection. However, I can't do my analysis because at the moment this is still raw data.
Yeah, and that's why we want also to help you with the data manipulation. So transforming it into something that is directly understandable for you. And most of the time we want to do that inside Odoo using spreadsheet, like we said, because we think that this gives us the opportunity to answer actually most of your question. Because we have an extensive Odoo knowledge, we know the database, we know the structure, we know the fields, we can easily navigate into all that structure. And with our spreadsheet proficiency, then we can adapt the data to actually compute the matrix really easily. And when it's not possible to do it inside Odoo, at least we can offer you the guidance to what you can do to actually make a small development or the modifications that you need to make in order to have the possibility to have the data and to modify it inside Odoo. Or we can also make suggestions internally to improve Odoo as well.
Okay, so now I have my KPIs and I have my data, but I would like to have one personalized and centralized place to have all my data at once and to make sure that I can easily make the right decision at the right moment. Is it possible according to you?
Yeah, obviously, as we said.
Okay.
The goal here, obviously, of manipulating the data is to then create something that is visual and that you can access easily. So we will put everything into dashboards that are really visible and understandable, and also with specific filters on your dashboard. So that's one of the big advantages of having the data inside Odoo, is that if you want to dive further into one specific area of your business, one sales team, one salesperson specifically, you can just add a filter and all your dashboards will be updated thanks to that. So that is a great visualization tool, sorry. And thanks to that, you can just have all the important figures that you need in a blink of an eye.
Okay, so that's super interesting, and I think that I will do that, to be honest. But if my needs change, because it's possible with my company, can I call you every time to make sure that you can take care of all those changes?
Well, obviously, that's not the goal at all. We want during the whole phase to focus on training you to make sure that you become really independent. As a company, our goal is not to sell services. We are mostly here to make sure that you have the best user experience that you can have on Odoo and that it answers the need that you have. So our goal is mostly to make the user independent. So during the whole process, when we are creating dashboard, when we are modifying the spreadsheet, we want to train you so that you understand what is actually going on. And then you can maintain those dashboards or you can create new dashboards using the techniques that we have seen together. So obviously, this is one part for the client, but the documentation and all that is not, the training is not only for the clients. We also want to give it to our partners. So we'll create new documentation that will soon be available, more detailed. And as documentation is sometimes not enough, we want also to provide a smart class where we can see real use cases together, get the ends dirty, and then you will have a dedicated trainer to help you with those issues so that we can improve your level as well. So if you want a first training on the topic, we have a talk tomorrow, this time at 11, for 1 hour when we'll create a complete dashboards together from A to Z.
Okay, that's super clear. But quick question for you: do you have the skills internally
well,
with the service?
Yes, we've been already using the tools internally inside the company.
Okay.
And that meant a few things already. So we've been working on internal dashboards to revamp them to have the right metrics. We improved also and make suggestions on fields tracking inside the database to be sure that it will be accessible for everyone and we don't have to make those modifications every time. We added also new functions and new features to Odoo spreadsheet and to dashboards. And if you want to know more about that, we have the talk about what's new. And we also made improvement on the standard dashboard so that they are more complete and more tailored for the need of the SMEs. We also have a talk on that on Friday. And about trainings, we did a lot of training internally as well to all our teams. A lot of documentation is already accessible.
Okay, that look perfect actually, but quick question about the cost, because you know it's an important part of the project. So how can I keep an eye on the global budget of this service?
Well, our goal is to obviously, our goal is that you have the hand on the budget. So we want to work as we did with our quick start methodology. So meaning we define a budget prior to the implementation, and we will adapt your needs with that budget, meaning that we will try to see what is really important for you, what is less important. We'll focus on what matters first so that we are sure that we are giving you the tools that you need. And anything that has less added value, we'll keep it for the end or maybe drop it. I'm talking really here about the aesthetics, for example, of a dashboard. You don't really need our help for that. And that's something that you can do on your own. So we don't want to make you pay for anything on that order.
Okay, and according to you, at which step of my project do I need to contact you to have this service?
Well, as we said, it's the importance of a good pre-scan before cannot be undermined, because if we are able to define first the questions and the matrix that you want to have, then we are able to modify the fields early on so that we are sure that the data is inside the database. And we don't arrive 2 years later with missing data that we cannot provide because it was not recorded in the first place. But obviously, you might need all help after the implementation as well, when we have all the data already there, and we can create beautiful dashboards with all the data inside.
Okay, interesting. Just to make sure I understood everything about what you said. So Odoo is conscious that their customers have some challenges in making their decision and analyzing their data and so on. And so that's why they needed to offer a solution. So the solution was to create a better integrated tool within Odoo, with Odoo 16 and of course Odoo 17. Yep. And so the objective here is to make sure that dashboards and analyzing the data will be easier for customers and partners. But yeah, they were still facing some issues and challenges because it was maybe too difficult to. Oops, sorry. This is the live. And so it was too difficult to implement it by their own. They were not able to do it properly. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and so now Odoo wants to go one step further with the service they are currently providing. And so the objective is to create a new service based on the service we all know with the implementation, so the quick start methodology, as you mentioned. And so this service will be divided into 5 propositions.
Yep.
Okay, and the objective is to make sure that people can make their decision more easier at the right moment.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, and so if I correctly remember, the 5 propositions were KPI analysis, so efficient data collection. Yep. We needed to analyze those data. You will create my perfect dashboards, and then you will train all your customer and your partners.
That's it.
Okay, great. It looks like really interesting, to be honest. But you know that I'm so curious. Can you maybe show us a quick preview?
Yeah, well, I had one that I was working on because it's the one that we will present tomorrow during our talk to create a dashboard totally from A to Z. So in this case, it is a dashboard that will enable me to compute some specific commission according to a commission plan on different categories of the market. So you can see here the commission plan and the different commissions for all of my salesperson during the last quarters for the year. So what's really good here is that it's really dynamic. So I can actually filter on some different salesperson. Right here, you will see that everything will move. I can see how they compare to the target that they have. And I can also go in the past. For example, here I was looking at September as the first month, but I can go to June just like this as well. So you can see it's really dynamic. It's inside Odoo. All the data is there. And if you want to know how we build such a dashboard using just Odoo spreadsheet, well, you're welcome tomorrow to our talk so that we can do it together.
Yeah, you spoke about other tools. Maybe could we have a look on what we can do if we want to know more?
Yeah, so we have other talks about spreadsheet and dashboard. First of all, as I said, tomorrow, the what's new about all the new features inside spreadsheet and also on dashboard. Then the case study to build the spreadsheet just like we did here. And then on Friday, we have a last talk about all the standard dashboard and how they've been revamped.
Okay, that's super clear for me. And to be honest, I don't have more questions because you were super clear. But maybe other people in the room have questions. So let's have a look and let's scan the QR code.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Maybe just give you seconds for people to add any questions. If you want, there are already a few of them. The first one maybe you already answered, but can you also help us how to collect and reorganize the data we already have before using Odoo? So I think you already went through that, but as an idea.
Well, collect and reorganize the data before using Odoo. That would mean to do some kind of import. So it depends obviously on the nature of the data that is there. Some imports are sometimes really complicated to realize. So we'll have to see in practice, depending on actually what is the data, what is the best solution that we can do, have to actually bring the data, or if we want to have more like a hybrid way of working, where we'll keep the data on the side and then analyze it. It all depends on the number of hours that we want to take to actually import this data or not.
Okay, so you can do like a pre-analysis and then you will decide to together. And I'm giving just a few seconds because I'm seeing people are writing. So another one is can the dashboard be shared with my team or is only for the single user?
Yeah, that's one thing that we don't really talked about. So yes, the dashboard can be shared with the team. So you have specific access rights for each dashboard. So meaning that you can be sure to provide the dashboard only to specific users, specific group of users. And even if you share the dashboard with these users, the access rights inside Odoo still do apply. So you're sure that you will not give access to data that would be too dangerous for those users, because they are still restricted by their access rights. Meaning that if they don't have access for a sale order, for example, this will not be taken into account into the computed amount that they see.
Okay, perfect. And then there is one that say, how are you handling the big data challenge? Like I think importing like a lot, like big data in that sense.
Well, it's getting better and better on that hand. So it also depends of your hosting platform and how we can actually access the data. At the moment, spreadsheet still work on well, not really big set of data, but we are getting there in the future.
Okay. And will the chatter data also be trackable in a dashboard? So what you have in the chatter, I think.
When we have a note and an email, you mean?
Well, hard to say, there are no specifications. But I think, yes, what you have, you put in the chatter maybe to be analyzed in a dashboard.
It's already possible sometimes to access it, because everything in Odoo is actually a model or some fields that are actually hosted, so you could actually access it already from the backend in one way, but maybe not that easily. So that's why also I was talking about sometimes changing the database structure to be sure that we are tracking some fields into specific models that are made for that, and that would be more accessible than actually the chatter that is on the site.
In itself, I think we are almost out of time, so I'm trying to see if there is something else that it's already done. Some have not completed, so let's see. Can we create fact and dimensional tables to use as a data model?
Excuse me?
Sorry, maybe it's easier if I show you.
Okay, there I don't see exactly what we are talking about, but obviously we can create pivot table with different different dimensions that are there, and you can really play with
With what
those
you say.
dimensions, make it totally dynamic. So most of the time, that will answer most of your questions.
But also during the Odoo experience, all the experts are here. There are the booths. So
Yeah,
if there are any deeper question, you can definitely go there and ask the people. And I think that's our time. So
Perfect.
thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
a lot, and I hope to see you tomorrow as well.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you very
guys.
much.